All right, ladies and gentlemen, it does appear that there is another review of Honkai Star Rail 3.0, or maybe just Honkai Star Rail in general, and it is by none other than good old Tectone himself. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to hear about what his thoughts are on the version and the game as a whole, considering that, let's be honest, he's been one of Honkai Star Rail's biggest supporters ever since its launch. And I think he said multiple times that it was one of his favorite gacha games overall. So with that, let's go ahead, let's get right on into it and hear what some of his thoughts are.
Yo, what up, boys? There's a reason why I'm making this video today. I'm not really sure what this is titled, but this is essentially my entire complete thoughts on 3.0 Honkai Star Rail as a whole, and there is a reason why I've waited very long to make this video. Number one, I didn't want to do any knee-jerk reactions, but I really just wanted to know how I felt about it, my desire meter towards Honkai Star Rail, every implementation of the game, as well as me watching tens upon at least 30, 40, 50 hours of other streamers playing the game.
I think that's a pretty fair take to have. There were a lot of immediate reactions to HSR. There were a lot of immediate reactions, myself included, to the version not being that good. And I think for somebody that has been on the record, like Tectone, right, talking about how much he liked the game, I think he did want to have some time, right, to fully digest a lot of other people's thoughts before making his own take. So I think that's a fair one to have.
Seeing the end game, watching the story, yeah, and just seeing everything the game had to offer, not via me playing it. My experience with the Honkai Star Rail story is I'm about 6 or 7 hours into it, with the end being nowhere near in sight. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about it. And another big reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I'm banning Mr. Pokey from reacting to this. I'm banning him from talking about it, tweeting about it, interacting with this video in any way, shape, or form, because if he does react to this or talk about it, he's a hypocrite. And this is very important to me to do.
This is going to be the take that I have, just based off of hearing that. This means that he's probably going to critique the game a lot. This means that he's probably not going to be very happy, or that he's not very happy with where the game is. And I think because Pokey obviously has the stance, right, that HSR is like the best game ever, that it's like the best story, whatever. That's probably not 100% correct, but you know what I mean. He rated it the best. He rated HSR 3.0 above Wuthering Waves, above Zenless Zone Zero, and above Genshin. He said it was like the best patch. He said it was like the best patch that the game has had, or the best patch among like the big 4 games. Him reacting to it would be a little bit like war, right? Reigniting another war, in a sense. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's fair, especially because, right, he sworn off of it. And from what we've seen thus far, guys, Pokey hasn't done anything. Since the talk with Techie, since that video by Techie, he hasn't done anything. I do believe he's stuck by his word. He's just playing League of Legends right now. So he's kind of like, any war that he might have had, it's directed towards 9 people. The other 9 people in his Summoner's Rift game, not Twitter. So W to him for doing that and keeping his word.
Because yesterday, he said that he would not be participating in any war activities whatsoever. And before,
he stuck by his word.
I had a call with him where he said that he wouldn't do one thing, and the next day he did that exact thing. So I wanted to put this out right now. I think it'd be a good opportune time.
So for context on when he said he wasn't going to do something and then he did something, this was the way back conversation that Techie and him had about power creep, where Techie basically got Pokey to walk back on some of like the whole like, okay, this is like the player's fault. This is mainly the company's fault. That's the angle that he was going for. And then Pokey immediately the very next day proceeded to make more power creep pro-corporate takes that were basically, you know, again, reaffirming the whole players are the ones at fault here. And so that is the context for that whole what Tech's a little bit unhappy about over there.
To just say, Pokey, it is time to change and grow as a person. You are not the warmonger that you pretend to be. You cannot handle the heat, so stay out of the kitchen and leave that shit to the big boys. Okay?
For some additional context on the kitchen part, Pokey made a tweet talking about Marco Meatball and how him deactivating his Twitter, all of that. Hey, you know, maybe if you can't handle interacting with this community, you should stay out of the kitchen. Well, Pokey also made a post talking about how, or not really a post, he had sent some direct messages to Tectone asking him to take down posts in Tectone's Twitter community that were annoying Pokey. And so that was like a little bit of like a, hey, like, wait, weren't you just calling out another creator for not being able to handle the heat? Isn't that kind of what you're insinuating about yourself at the moment? You can't handle the tweet from good old John Seaman. John Seaman was the guy that he wanted to get banned. And so, yeah, that's the context on that one.
Okay, leave that shit to me. Okay, so we're going to talk about everything involving Honkai Star Rail 3.0, and we are going to get really, really, really deep into it. Full disclosure, in case you don't know, I've played Honkai Star Rail every single patch since release. I've played every single one. I even played the beta, played from Belobog, Zhanzhou Luofu, Penacony, even to the Rappa Banana Times, to now where we are now at currently, which is Amphorus.
So for context, and how I'm going to be commentating on it, I've played every single patch of Honkai Star Rail, except for the return to Zhanzhou Luofu with like Fei Zhao and Yun Li. I haven't played the banana one, but I've played every other patch. I actually did play 2.7 off stream. That was like, yeah, that made quest actually fucking sucked. It had one combat. That main story quest in 2.7 had one combat the entire fight. Or it had one fight the entire quest. It was like 2, 3, maybe 4 hours, and there was just one fight at the very end. I was so confused. And it was just a repeat of the Sunday boss fight that we had several months ago. They just repeated it. It actually made no sense to me, like what the point of that story even was. Guys, I think 2.7, you're viewing it with like rose-tinted goggles because 2.6, the banana quest, was so fucking bad. And so anything else other than 2.6 was going to be an improvement. And that's why people said 2.7 was good, but 2.7 in a vacuum was absolute dog shit. In a vacuum, the 2.7 update was fucking trash. Let's be real here. It was just better than the banana garbage.
So here's the thing. I play many other gacha games. I play Wuthering Waves. I play Sunless Zone Zero, Cookie Run Kingdom, Arc Knights, Alone, Summoner's War, Epic 7. I've pretty much played every single gacha game that there pretty much is on Earth until I deem them not worthy enough of my time. Which really sucks because there are games that bounce back from a bad game state like Nikkei. I think Nikkei's launch was fucking terrible. It was very gated.
I have no context on this, so I won't comment.
They fixed that very shortly after. Unfortunately, I'd already quit the game, and now quitting Nikkei is one of my biggest regrets because the game is fucking amazing. And it really breaks my heart. Maybe I'll go back one day. But enough about that. Let's just talk about Honkai Star Rail. So Honkai Star Rail 3.0 recently released, where now we are going to Amphorus. The land of gods. Feels very Greek mythology-esque with characters like Phynon, Maide, Tribi, Castorus, and thank God March 7th isn't here because she has a tummy ache, so we won't be having to experience her mentally deranged, mentally handicapped, full-blown autism the entire fucking trip, but unfortunately we still have to deal with Dan Hung's emo ass. I think the biggest issue that I'm having...
Hey, at least... Well, if you played on EN, there's another big issue with Dan Hung. If you play on the EN version, he has no fucking voice, and he has a fuck ton of voice lines during the quest. And let me just say it's an awful experience. It's fucking terrible. I don't even know how they let it happen. It's genuinely just such a bad experience, playing without voices on one of the main characters.
I think the biggest issue that I'm having with Honkai Star Rail, and I want to say this is not going to be a positive video, this is going to be a very negative video, because I feel like Honkai Star Rail 3.0 is a very negative update for me. I cannot tell you how to feel. I cannot tell you how you should think about a game. I can only tell you why I feel a certain way and explain to you why I feel that way.
You know how he has the boxing gloves in the corner over here? I think Tectone was thinking about Honkai Star Rail 3.0, and he got the urge to punch something. That's why the boxing gloves are on the ground over here. I think they were just freshly used. I think that's the emotion that most people have when they think about 3.0. They want to like punch something.
I have had very little enjoyment in Honkai Star Rail. I have had very low desire to play Honkai Star Rail, and I think I have been conditioned to not enjoy the game of how I used to enjoy it. Now, I will say at a time, Honkai Star Rail was my #1 gacha game, which felt very good. Belobog was amazing. Bits and pieces of Zhanzhou Luofu were amazing. And even the start of Penacony, I enjoyed quite a bit. But I do think Penacony is where things started to go wrong. And what do I mean about things are starting to go wrong? Okay. So I am at the part of the story for 3.0 where we get introduced to Aglia, and she's showing us the cosmos.
This part of the story is fucking unbearable. I would say that Honkai Star Rail 3.0 actually started off okay. And the second that you make it to like, I guess like, what's the fucking city called? Like Okaroon, like Oklahoma, whatever the fuck the main story is called. That area, the second you enter there, and then you just get like primed up knowing that you're about to get the biggest fucking lore dump in history and that you're warned like 5 times that it's going to take a long time, I was just immediately put off by it. I was just straight up put off by that entire part. I went to Oklahoma and I made it through, and then I got to the point where I was offered the chance to leave the planet. I took it and I have not played the story since. It's just, I don't know who play tested the version and said it was okay. I don't know who did, because it's one of the biggest turnoffs I've ever seen. And it's like they knew it was going to be bad. That's why they warned you like 5 times in the dialogue that it was going to suck dick.
She's showing us the cosmos and the symbols and the wars and explaining the gods. And then, you know, she was punishing us for revealing the truth to the people who weren't supposed to know that there was more that exists outside of Amphoris. And I thought that was very cool. And then Tribby said, if she was ever going to hurt you, I would have stepped in. But I feel like a lot of the things that happened in that HSR 3.0 story were very cool. However, getting there takes so long. It's absurd. There's a lot of characters who are yapping way more than they should, and that's even me playing in JP speed reading it. In case you guys don't know, I was Shenandoah County 3rd grade simple math champion, as well as speed read champion in 4th and 5th grade.
Okay,
I read
buddy.
quite quickly, and I retain quite a lot. It's just always been something that I've been good at ever since I was a child. But the story is just so much, and I agree. If you are enjoying that, it's great, but I'm having a hard time being invested in the story. And the reason why I'm having a hard time being invested in the story is because if you really think about it, nothing ever really happens.
Guys, the story's like 11 to 12 hours. Let's be honest. It could have been 3. I do believe that there's an entire like 4-hour segment that's just you running around in Oklahoma. And the only thing of importance that happens in the story is that you like reveal that there's a world outside. It takes 4 hours for the plot point of like you revealing that there's a world outside of Amphoris. It takes 4 hours for that to happen. And it's just a bunch of bullshit, stupid interactions where you're like, you take like photos with Don Hung on Marsh's camera, and then that's how the guy finds out. It takes like 4 hours for that shit to get resolved. And it's so bad. It's so bad that I didn't want to play anymore after that. It's got horrible story direction post Zhou, and no one has an answer why. Because they want people to just play the game for longer. They want people to play the game for longer. That's why, EO. They're just trying to waste people's time at this point so they can drive analytics.
And I want to explain, what do I mean by that? Belobog was essentially the best Honkai Star Rail has ever been.
Yep.
And that was 1.0. The story of the rich versus the poor, the strugglers versus the thrivers, and trying to take the underdogs and have them defeat a dynasty, to which they do, and then they kill Bronya's mother, Kokolia, who was a character put in the position that I would actually care about.
Belobog was just generic. I don't know. Guys, generic doesn't mean bad. You want to know what the best-selling movies are? Superhero movies. What happens in a superhero movie? Villain does something, hero beats villain. It's generic, but it's also fun, and it's also something people actually want to watch, and they pay to watch. Generic doesn't mean bad. It means that, oh, they're doing something that they know works. I don't think generic should be viewed as bad. If you're being unique for the sake of simply not being generic, and you're making bullshit because you just didn't want to be generic, I think that's way worse than being generic.
But now the problem is, ever since then, Zhou Luofu was, Ting Yun died. No, she didn't. Adventurines died. No, he didn't. You know, oh, all of these characters are going to die. No, they didn't. Oh, and the characters that do die, nobody fucking cares. Okay? Nobody gives a fuck about Gallagher. Nobody gives a fuck about little short blue hair guy. No real characters ever feel
Misha.
like they're in any danger whatsoever. Same thing with Firefly. Firefly's gonna die. She has cancer. Firefly died. No, she didn't. And it's just like, how am I supposed to get invested into the story when I know there's no real danger amongst anybody who I really give a fuck about? And it's a shame, because I want to buy into the story. I want to buy into the impending doom, but at the end of the day, I always know that this is a gacha game. These characters are going to sell, and any 5-star limited unit is in no danger whatsoever. Now, am I saying that the games need to kill characters to make their game good? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, don't tease it so much because we know it's never going to happen.
I'll bring up the same exact cutscene that I did in our Gotcha Smack review. I thought that this was the best parts of the story that Honkai Star Rail ever had. Nobody's dying here. You know that nobody's dying here. If anything, you just think that somebody's being saved.
There seems to be another kind of sound coming into the Order Symphony. Penacony's first and last disharmony.
You knew that nobody was really in, like, danger of being killed, but it's still good, right? And then you get this shit happening in the middle of the fight.
The foundation of our paradise.
Witness the will of the weak.
Right? You get that shit. And that's good. People enjoyed that. There's no risk of anyone dying. You don't have to like fake out or like bait out deaths, and you still have an engaging story. This is probably the best part about Penacony for everybody. I don't know anybody who thought that this was like not good or that this wasn't like fulfilling at all. I think that everybody universally agreed that this is probably the best part about Penacony. And guess what? You didn't have to run the risk of like faking out deaths or doing any of that shit. 1,000,000%. They didn't need to do any of that.
And I understand. Guys, did you know in Honkai Impact 3rd that Himiko died? Wow. And what impactful character on the same level of Himiko has died since then? There's a reason that shit happened 8 years ago, and now it's still the only thing that people fucking talk about, saying, this guy doesn't know about Himiko. So why isn't there a plethora of names at this point? That one moment that people have been holding on to for that long, there has been no significant playable character that has died since fucking Himiko.
Himiko wasn't that impactful to the story, in all honesty. I think it was quite impactful, to be honest. It happened very, very early on in Honkai Impact 3 and kind of like shaped the character development for like the next couple of chapters. So it 1,000,000% was very impactful for at least Honkai Impact 3rd. It's referenced like throughout the rest of the game, to be honest. It's literally referenced in like 10 chapters later. And guys, I know this because I played the entire Honkai Impact 3rd story. I've played the entire Honkai Impact 3rd story.
Senora died. We all know she's coming back. She's also a villain. Cocolia died, and that was cool, but I don't feel any pressure on any playable character that I have ever being in any real danger. Like, I want to make sure you guys understand this. People think Tepe is an impactful death. The NPC that we knew for 3 hours. Wow, dude. Wow, dude, that's crazy. And I'm glad that so many people don't even know who the fuck that is. I can't really buy in to the drama of which they're selling of, this character's in so much danger. When it's like, okay, well, who really cares? I mean, fuck, Don Hung died and he came back as Super Saiyan 3 Don Hung. And now he's still just chilling, walking around.
I guess this is the other thing that I just find so absurd. Why do we never see Imbibitor Lune, like, ever again? Does he just have, like, fucking ED? Does he just have, like, ED after the Zhanzhou Lofu arc? He just can't transform again? I don't get it. He just never fucking uses it when he, like, should, right?
It gets me...
He
It
hates
makes me
the form?
struggle
Okay.
to really get invested because the game tries to sell you on the dangers of the world, the dangers that the characters are going to be in. But at the end of the day, I always know they're going to be fine. And if I know the character is going to be a new character that you're going to play, I always know they're going to be fine. So it's like, maybe we move away from that type of storytelling because I just kind of just don't care about it anymore.
I would say, though, that this is a problem that's very apparent in ZZZ as well. I've got fresh playthroughs of the ZZZ story quests on my mind. You have Caesar driving into a volcano. She's fine. You have Miyabi, Haramasu, and Sokaku at risk of brain death. They're fine. You have Miyabi about to go sicko mode, right? And slaughter a group of like 1,000 civilians. She's fine. Stop making the characters like at risk of doing something crazy when you know everyone's gonna be fine, right? Everyone's gonna be okay.
It's also very frustrating whenever I play the Honkai Star Rail story, and it kind of feels like 90% of it is just pointless yapping, and then, wow, look at that one really cool trailer, and everybody else just turns a blind eye to the hours of monotony that they had to sit through and suffer through. It also really bothers me where this trope of good or bad guy turns good guy, and that's cool, but like Sunday's arc really just made no sense to me in Penacony. It was, man, there's this really bad guy. He's fucking over everybody. He's treating everybody like shit. Oh, but he said he was sorry. So let's forgive him. And let's also not forget that Firefly has done countless atrocities. And now she's just, well, isn't she so cute though? And it's just very frustrating because I'm trying to get invested into these characters, but I feel like the only character that I actually have an investment in is Welt. And I think Welt is a perfect character. I do. I think Welt is fucking fantastic. But the problem is when Welt's not on the screen, it's like, well, what the fuck?
Welt actually does seem like the guy tying the whole story together and not letting it go into complete shit. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. He seems like the kind of like grounding point. Let's be honest here, guys. The main character in Honkai Star Rail is actually just a joke. The main character in Honkai Star Rail is literally a joke. They're meant to just be like comedic relief, like all the time. I don't take anything the main character does seriously. All of their responses like don't really make sense. They might as well not be in the story. They're like the opposite of a self-insert. They're like a self-fucking excerpt. You take them out and nothing in the story changes. You take the MC out, nothing changes.
And the same thing with Sparkle, where it's like, oh, Sparkle has these nuclear bomb. Sparkle has this massive impending explosion, and it's gonna fuck over everybody in Penacony and kill everyone. Oh, it was just fireworks. Oh, it was just fireworks. It was just a prank. She was just being a silly. And it's like, oh, okay.
They built that up over like 3 patches, by the way. They dedicated multiple cutscenes, at least like an hour worth of dialogue to like that prank.
Well, that's great, I guess. But yeah, that's why
literally
I really
a waste of your time.
Stories, because there's a lot of drawn out meandering. I know nobody's ever really in danger. And it just kind of doesn't feel worth my time. You know what really sucks is that I actually really enjoyed meeting My Day. I thought My Day and Finon's dynamic was really cool. I thought Castorus's lore, where you can't even touch her or you die, that's the girl that I want to fuck. Just call it a day. Tribby, surprisingly to me, I actually like quite a bit. I thought she was very cute. I like how she has 3 different versions of herself. She's like,
just don't play in Korean then, Techie. Korean Tribby actually made me want to blow my brains out. 1,000,000%. Korean Tribby is like something else. It's fucking demonic.
She has
in Minecraft.
She's like the Powerpuff Girls all in one. And I like how she was willing to fight for me in case someone was wronging me. But at the end of the day, I just really hate talking to these child characters. So the story, I'm having a hard time getting invested because I know nothing really is ever going to change. Now let me continue on towards the combat. The combat, I think, has been getting progressively worse every single patch.
Yep.
And that's really a shame, because when I first started the game, it really felt like, okay, I'm going to try to make these characters mix and match. I'm going to mix and match whoever I need to beat whatever enemy obstacle is put ahead of me.
Now you just put Super Break. Now you just put Super Break against everything. You just play fucking Super Breaku and you press auto and you'll get a better clear than every other team in the game. E0 everything on the Super Break team, and you just fuck everything up in the game. I don't get it. Like, what were these devs thinking?
And it felt like I was fighting an enemy. It felt like I needed to learn the mechanics and respond accordingly. So I would think, okay, Kokoli is out. Kokoli. Remember when Kokoli was a complex mob? Kokoli is out, and you have to kill the crystals. Because if you don't kill the crystals, then she's going to do her mega move. So I'll use Zila, and I'll single target them down, alt, which will give me a resurgence proc, and then I'll go fight the other crystal and DPS them down. Use Bronya to give her another turn. That way we can really focus down the damage. I'll probably bring in Pela to bring a defense break. So that way Zila can really slam their fucking guts. Maybe a Ting Yun to put the E on them, give him the extra alt charge so she can shoot, reset, and go again.
I'm not gonna lie, Honkai Star Rail's combat back in version 1.0, like I would say 1.0 to like 1.4 or 5 was really good. It was quite good. And that's why I always bring up an example of a certain team, right? Like Jing Liu and Blade, where you would use the built-in synergies into the kit that weren't a fucking keyword to craft your teams. You wouldn't focus on just matching characters with the keyword together to clear the content. Now, the team building is, okay, use the Memo Sprite character with the Memo Sprite character. Use the Super Break character with the Break character. Use the follow-up character with the follow-up character. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just they added these taglines into the kits, and now you simply match up the taglines in the kits to clear the game. And that's the thing, right? They're releasing so many of these tagline characters, and they're all limited 5 stars. And so to make one 5-star work properly, you need to have 17 other ones. Sorry, not 17. You need to have 3 other ones to make one limited character work. And it feels like shit. Because you're just like, all right, now there's suddenly no point in me pulling Fei Zhao unless I have the other enablers of her team. Isn't all gacha games like this? Not really. Pretty much every other gacha game has like good 4-star options that will like let you clear. Don't have Yelan? Okay, use Jing Q. Use Pella instead of Ron Mei? Okay, sure. Yeah, let me just remove like half of the fucking buffs that make the team comp work. Wuthering Waves. Oh my gosh, there are so many team replacements in that game. It's insane. There are so many team replacements in that game. Same with ZZZ. HSR, it's just like, okay, don't have Robin, go fuck yourself. Don't have Ron Mei, go fuck yourself. Don't have the DPS that works with Robin or Ron Mei, just go fuck yourself again.
Right, and you know, or I'd obviously have to bring a healer, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, you needed to think about what the enemy did and how to beat them. But now it's kind of just like, rather than thinking about what the enemy does, now it more so feels like, okay, I need to make this follow-up attack team work.
Yep.
Okay, I need to make this super break
Not
team
pre-washed, by the way.
Okay, I need to make this dot team. Oh, wait, they're fucking dead in the dirt. Okay, well, maybe we'll get a buff. Maybe we'll get a character that'll buff them. So, yeah, let me just focus on this follow-up team and this super break team, and hopefully we have enough damage to kill them, right? So, yeah, I'll just bring these 4 characters together because they're meta, and everything else sucks.
Yep.
And it really blows. It does, because it doesn't feel like the same amount of interactivity with the mobs as there once was, right? Like, Svarog summons his giant metal claw, grabs one of your characters. So you're like waiting on the abilities. Oh, he grabbed him, blast him, get the character back, go, 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 bring his shield because he does tons of damage. But I don't feel that anymore. Now I just feel, oh man, I cleared it in 3 cycles. Oh God, my account must be fucking terrible, right? Or I use dot and it's like, oh please God, let me clear this in 10 cycles. And it doesn't really feel like I'm interacting with the mechanics. It feels like I'm just praying to God I have the DPS. And I don't know how many of people out there feel the same way that I do, but I'm not really worried about, can I respond to the elemental advantage? Can I respond to the mechanics at hand? Now it just feels, do I have the DPS? Because I'll be real, and I feel gross by this. I mean, I literally had to pull for Eidolons to get my dots running.
True. If you don't have E1 Black Swan and you don't have E1 Ron Mei, the dot team actually won't clear. In the current state of the game, if you don't have E1 Black Swan, your team actually won't clear. And I have that team, guys. I have E1 Black Swan and E1 Ron Mei, and that thing like 4 or 5 cycles. In like 4 or 5 cycles. I'm not even joking. It's so fucking bad. It's terrible.
Because I 12 cycled the MOC. And I was like, fuck me. And then I pull 1 Eidolon for Black Swan, and I cleared it 4 cycles faster.
Yep.
Because it's just like, what the fuck? I mean, I want you to really think, like, there's so many characters back in the day. Gepard comes. He has his shield. Make sure to kill his mobs because then you can get to the weakness bar. Make sure you bring this electric unit because he's weak to electric. But now everybody's weak to anything that you need because you can just impose the weakness on them, which even more limits the creativity of builds that you can do in Honkai Star Rail. I think Silver Wolf was a disaster for things to come. I don't like that system. Now it's just like, Thug you lets you break anything.
He stole my nickname. He stole my pronunciation. No, that's trademark. That's copyrighted by me. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But no, the character is just like a big fuck you to the player base. Fuck you, Fuke, is literally like a gigantic middle finger to the player base. Let's be honest here, guys.
Fug you lets you break anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even have to fucking think. It's like the game is built for toddlers. And it doesn't feel like I'm fighting enemies anymore. It just feels like I'm fighting the urge to pull the new unit to make these meta teams where it's like, you're going to play together whether you like it or not. Timmy, stay away from Mary Sue because you're not on the same team, so you're not going to play together. And it's like, damn. It doesn't feel like I have freedom anymore. It just feels like a bullet sponge.
And they're doing the same exact thing with Aglaia. If you don't have Sunday and you pull Aglaia, you just griefed your account. That's basically, you just griefed your account because now you're gonna have a character that just sucks ass and doesn't fucking work. You pulled Firefly and you don't have Ron May, go fuck yourself. You pulled Fei Zhao and you don't have Robin, just go fuck yourself. Oh, sorry, you need Huoho 2 for Aglaia to work. Sorry, my bad. You actually need 2 limited characters for your other limited character to work. And that's the thing, right? It's just, why is the game in such a state where you need all of these limited characters together to fucking do anything? It just feels like shit. Instead of like looking for synergies, the synergies are baked into the game for you by the devs, and it's like now the character doesn't do anything unless you line up all the synergies. It's like a team-up bonus in Marvel Rivals, except the team-up bonuses are so strong you can't play the game without them.
And it just feels like a DPS check, and it really just feels like Spiral Abyss and Genshin Impact. And that sucks because it doesn't feel like I'm fighting the monsters anymore. It just feels like I'm fighting the urge to pull new characters to make my teams work.
That's the skill check in Honkai Star Rail. The skill check in Honkai Star Rail is which banners and characters you pull on, and whether or not you win or lose the 50-50. It's unfortunate.
To pull new characters to make my teams work.
All to fight AI, by the way. You're just fighting AI.
And that's pretty much it. I couldn't tell you what the big wolf guy even does in combat. I don't even know his fucking name. I just know that follow-up works really well against him, so I just beat his ass. I don't even know his mechanics. Like Hule, I don't even know their mechanics. I just know that this team beats him.
He attacks a lot. That's the Hule mechanic. He attacks a lot. He has very high speed.
This team beats him, so I'm going to use him. Right? Or like, do you guys remember when there was the big gorilla? And the big gorilla would attack anybody who used their skill last.
I remember that.
So you had to play around who was gonna use their ability, so that way the gorilla wouldn't one-shot them. But there's nothing like that anymore. There's just nothing like that. It's just, oh, okay, I use the follow-up tech team. Oh, okay, I use super break. Right? And that mechanic with the monkey was so scary. And then what happened? They got rid of it because they introduced Fushuan. It's not a strategy that you use anymore to outplay these mechanics. It's not gameplay or skill that you use to plan accordingly. It's, I should probably get the new unit so I can trivialize this fight. And I don't like that. It feels like Honkai Star Rail creates issues and then sells the solution.
1,000,000%.
Banner.
1,000,000%.
And there's so many fucking characters now that so many other characters are becoming obsolete. Maybe I wouldn't have this issue if I wasn't so frustrated about the state of dot teams in 2025. But it doesn't feel like I can overcome the odds by playing well as dot. Because anybody who's seen me play dot teams understands that I play it very well. And it's one of my favorite teams. I love it. But it just feels like I need to pull the newest unit, or I need to get another Eidolon because dot just fucking dies. I don't think that's going to change.
Hey, join the club, Blade mains. Join the club, Jing Liu mains. Join the club, basically any fucking DPS character that was released before version 2.1. Get ready to become fucked.
Now, I do want to say this is a very interactive video, okay? This isn't going to be me yapping, me ranting at you guys. I do want to know. Chat. I have about 5,000 people here right now, about 4.8 thousand. I do want to know, is there anything wrong with what I've said so far? Do you guys think I'm just yapping? Is my take dystopian? Or how many of y'all feel like how I feel right now? And I would love to know with a yes if you agree, no if you disagree. So I've been actively looking for anybody who actually disagrees.
I think most people feel this way about the
here.
game.
So Akun Black, you say no. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think that I'm wrong about? Oh, no, I agree with you. Oh, okay, great. All right. Well, anyways, I tried.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there's anybody that can disagree with that. And it's just the general take that the game has just become far worse to play. The game has just become progressively worse to play, and it just feels bad playing it all the time. I think that's just a general take that everybody has. That's why it lost so many viewers in 3.0. That's why, like, so little people actually play it very often on stream, and it's just,
well, anyways,
I think it's just a fact at this point.
I tried to find anybody who disagrees with me, and I want to make this very clear. And I've noticed a pattern here where I'll upload videos. Like, for example, there's a lot of videos that I uploaded with Mr. Pokey, for example, where my commenters are going in on me for being too soft, and I should have got him to admit this, or I should have got him to do this, and everything they asked me to get him to do, I did. So I understand that a lot of people are probably only going to watch the first 50% of this and then click off, which obviously is frustrating because I think there's a lot of viewpoints that I think a lot of my YouTube commenters have that just simply aren't real. But yeah, and then he did it again the next day. Yeah, and then we talked to him again, and now he said that it's not going to happen again, which is why I'm putting out this video, right? And so now's the real fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. But I mean, I got him to apologize. I got him to admit that he's a hypocrite. I got him to admit it's the company's fault, not the players. I can't help that he lied. What do you want me to do? Hit him?
I can't help that he lied. I can't help that he was lying to me.
I can't help that he lied. What do you want me to do? Hit him? Hey, I'm not his mother. I don't expect my friends to talk to me and lie to my face. And that's why I've been a lot more strict to Mr. Pokey. Because I don't like being lied to. And I don't like hypocrites. I don't like that. And that shit really pissed me off. And I thought we had a certain level of respect, and that's why I kind of distanced myself for a little bit. But now I'm giving him another chance, and hopefully this time he actually sticks to what the fuck he's saying.
And just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe he is sticking with what he's saying. I think I see some people in the chat, they're saying that Mr. Pokey's taken like a 2-day break from like streaming. Whatever he needs to like reset, recharge, and just reevaluate, I'm all for it, man. My latest video on him, right, was like maybe a week ago, and it was talking about the fact that Mr. Pokey needs help. I wasn't joking in that video, guys, and I think he has gotten help.
But yeah, this isn't a video saying that I want to quit Honkai Star Rail. No, I'm not going to quit Honkai Star Rail, not yet. Nor do I have any plans to ever just say it's bad or say that I'm going to quit, because I do greatly believe in the game, and I do really enjoy the modes, but it just seems like there's this massive red flag looming over the game.
Yep.
Because I just don't think it's going in a great direction. Honkai Star Rail 3.0 doesn't feel like a 3.0.
Yep.
1
million percent.
2.0 felt like a 2.0. Zenless Zone 0 1.4, like it felt like a new update.
That's what I'm saying. That to me is why 3.0 felt so disappointing to so many people. So many people had like the whole game quit angle after experiencing it. And so many people just simply stopped watching and stopped streaming the game right after 3.0 launched. It just felt like more of the same. No real innovation, same dialogue bloat, same just like boring shit, same animations. Everyone was just like, this is just a new coat of paint on a ugly house. The house is still ugly. It just has a new skin on it, but it's still ugly. Like, think about when like League of Legends, right, comes out with a new skin for a character, but the base model looks like shit. And so the skin is automatically still shit because the baseline model looks like ass. Versus, you know, right, a situation where they actually do come out with a whole visual graphics update and it just looks better in every single way. People thought 3.0 was going to be the VGU. Instead, it was just another shitty skin on top of a garbage model. And that was the problem. HSR going from 31K viewers on release day and then proceeding to go to 7K the very next day. That happened for a reason. 31K to 7K in 24 hours. I saw it live because I streamed the game both days. I saw the steep drop off and I was like fucking confused. It was that bad.
Honkai Star Rail 3.0 just feels like the same game on a new planet, but worse in every single regard. Dialogue's bloated.
Yep.
It's too long to get to the point.
Yep.
Takes too long to establish itself.
Yep.
Yaps far too much.
Yep.
The enemies' difficulty is just the same enemies with no mechanics but big HP bar.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what you're fighting. Just bring the OP teams and you win.
Yep.
And
Super
it doesn't
cool.
feel like I'm playing a game anymore. It doesn't. HSR 3.0, yeah, I could agree. It feels like a downgrade than to what we had in 1.0. And that really sucks because as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, we're going to have to wait another year for something huge to happen. Now, obviously, I want to hope that 3.1 does something different, but it's not doing anything different. It just feels like slop. It doesn't feel like they're innovating. It just feels like they're dampening everything. It makes it feel like everything's getting fatter, everything has more HP, and while I think it's perfectly fine that other people are enjoying the game, and I want to say that very clearly, I think it's great if you enjoy that game. I just don't feel the desire to play it at all right now. And I wish there was something that would hook me to play it, because I don't think that I'm alone in this viewpoint. I think a lot of people are missing that hook into wanting to play Honkai Star Rail the way we used to.
It was a lot more fun back then. Now, genuinely, the only way to enjoy Honkai Star Rail, to me, is to pull on every single character so that you don't run into the trap of pulling on a Galea if you don't have Sunday, where your character is now fucking useless or there's no reason to even interact with the banner unless you have like several other limited characters. That is literally how the game feels at the current moment. What was the point of pulling Fug U if you don't have a breaker, right? If you didn't have Firefly or Rappa, what was the point of pulling Fugue? There is none. You just don't do it. And the game is at the point, right, where it just feels like you need so many prerequisites just for things to work and just for you to have fun in that. And it's gotten to the point where if you don't pull every character, it's like you're just not going to have any fun.
I miss the days where pulling a character at E0 and having them equip a 4-star weapon was enough. But now there's so many characters that I feel obligated to pull at E2 and get their S1. And I'm afraid that Aglia might be the same. I've heard rumors that you really need Eidolons on Aglia or to have a Sunday, or they're trash. And I'm really worried.
All right, you need Huoho too, buddy. You need Huoho too, buddy.
About that. I'm really worried about that. But yeah, you need E1. Need E1. Do you agree that the addition of a new path is a step in the right direction? No. I don't think that the issue comes down to make new characters I can play. I think it comes down to make new mechanics that we as players have to think and solve around the enemies that we're fighting, because right now it doesn't feel like I'm solving an equation. It just feels like I'm running a marathon.
And guess what, guys? All that adding a new path does for something like HSR is just make it so that all of your previous light cones are not usable. Every other limited light cone you pulled is now like useless on that new path. That's all it does. It's actually not good. It's actually really bad. It's really bad. Because guess what? Remembrance characters all kind of want to have crit, right? Oh, guess what has crit? All of the other light cones, right? The erudition ones have it. The hunt ones have it. The destruction ones have crit. But you simply just can't use them anymore.
And I hope that I'm fast enough to finish in time. And that's kind of all it feels like. It doesn't feel like the puzzle turn-based RPG anymore. It kind of took the strategy out of the strategy game. And now it just kind of feels like well, I sure hope I have enough damage. Yeah.
You will with Super Break.
That's pretty much it. Is there anything else that you guys think that I forgot about? I talked about the combat. I talked about the story. Obviously, I think Amphorius is very beautiful. I like the world. It looks nice. Brother, I never not used autoplay because the game has always been brain dead if you had gear. What are you talking about? Well, then maybe you wailed very early on.
I think one thing he needs to talk about is how fucking dog shit so many of the side quests are in this game. I would argue that Honkai Star Rail's like blue quests are literally worse than Genshin Impact's, because at least you have like some level of interactivity. I do feel like whenever I was in Penacony, the blue quests were literally just talking, and everything was just talking. You never actually fought anything. It was just talking the entire time. And then maybe you did a little like fucking diddly doodah with the clocky thing, but then that was it. It's literally just talking, and you never fight anything. In Genshin, you at least get to fight stuff and explore and do like interaction and stuff, right? Maybe climb a cliff or two. In Honkai Star Rail, you just talk the entire time. It's just talking.
Yeah, maybe you wailed very early on. I think enemies are interactive, but they will always pull back. People complain when they try to add in mechanics. You don't really see or need to learn the mechanics if you play the favor of the patch. I'm looking forward to future enemies like the last boss when they add it to MOC, APOC. If you have limited resources, it does feel like fun puzzle and combat. Maybe that's it. Maybe my account's just too strong. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe my account's too strong, but sure doesn't feel like my account's that strong when I'm playing Dot. It doesn't. And it really feels like...
Your account feels really strong when you play Super Boreku, where my fucking Super Break team with 1 Eidolon and then 4-star light cones on everybody else did better than my E2S1 Acheron team, where I have a literal top 1% Acheron on the server. A literal top 1% Acheron does worse than the Super Break team. The devs can go fuck themselves.
Like, play meta or die. Now we're at 3.0, and there was nothing that really changed. IMO storytelling even regressed compared to previous patches. They added mem to story, March-like character, but instead of talking, it fucking squeaks, which is even more annoying. English VA was mediocre at best. Only good moment was Herta. After seeing 3.0, I'm afraid the story goes in the direction of it's a world of memories. All you see now happened already in the past. You're just reliving it, so just the same shit as Penacony. Yeah, I really feel like the story's gone downhill ever since that Honkai Impact 3rd writer took over it.
Yeah, Shao Ji he's a fraud. Let's be honest here. The only specialty he has is word count.
Because Honkai Impact 3rd writing was just bloated nightmare. Right? And everybody was gassing up this guy as like the be-all, end-all best writer of fucking gacha games, but it's just been kind of sucking balls ever since he was brought on board. And
bring the fucking Bellabog writer back, please. If you just announce that the Bellabog writer will come back, I swear to God, people will like start playing the game again.
But now when I see him, I'm just like, oh, hey, look, it's that ugly retard that ruined the fucking story. But Shao Ji is the greatest. Yeah, he's just not, man. He's just not. Please pull me up. I'd love to. What's going on, man? I thought he was him, but now he's just bad. True. Nah, I disagree. The ENVA was good aside muted characters. Everybody wants to play a game where half the voice actors aren't getting paid, so they don't voice the fucking game. It's so irritating. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, like, the burger was really good. Just ignore the fact that there was no patty or tomatoes. It's like, all right, dude. Yeah, it was a great bun and lettuce. I'm going to play in Japanese. That's probably another big detractor for me. I really enjoyed playing in English. I'm happy you feel like that about HSR because I've been the same ever since 2.3 where I understood that they won't ever bother just like Genshin.
True.
Remember, it was really exciting. The first patch are very cool and fun, and then it falls off. I guess that's the Hoyoverse way. ZZ's the same at this point. I don't even care anymore. I'm actually looking forward to Wu on Enfield only because they aren't Hoyoverse games. I don't necessarily think the characters need to die, but it's true the story just there isn't it. There's no pressure as of the story dialogue. Just feel like they're made for kids, I guess. Most likely we were not even here to talk about 1.0, as you said, was cool. So it's weird the story just going to the last forever, the last time because these gacha games have. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to time you out for 30 minutes for spamming. But great comment.
Based.
Yeah, don't spam ever again. That shit's cringe. Hoyoverse is finally going to have competition. I mean, 6 new big games are coming out that aren't Hoyo. And I really hope Hoyo learns to innovate and make their games harder via systems that aren't making them take longer. And make the story better without systems that just say, make them take forever. And it feels like Hoyoverse is now just Hoyo bloat. From the mechanics to the gameplay to getting to the fucking point.
I can confirm, though, I am in the middle of the ZZZ 1.4 quest. I've played the rest of the ZZZ stuff. ZZZ actually seems like the only game where the story isn't, like, getting kicked in the balls. It actually does currently feel like the only Hoyoverse game where you're not actively getting kicked in the nuts just to experience the story. I was surprised. I was shocked. I was actually shocked with the removal of the TVs, how fast I went through the 1.2 story. Just so you all know, the 1.2 story was the one with like Caesar and the Sons of Caledon. I got through that in like 2 hours and it was actually like pretty okay. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. There was not a single TV in any of the main story quests. And then 1.2 was just like, it was like done like that. I'm telling you guys right now might be the best time to actually experience all of ZZZ's story. It's quite seamless. The removal of the TVs has made the story experience unimaginably better.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I don't want to give up on it because I do love the characters of that game so much. And it will always hold a fond spot in my heart. how much I truly enjoyed the character of this game.
And this is the other thing, guys. You can actually replay the whole story in the game if you want to. I think that's also that's the other thing. You can just replay the whole ZZZ story if you want to for fun.
But man, oh man, is that game just a bloated fucking nightmare. Made this video just to kind of give a general consensus on what you guys think. And yeah, let me know what you think. I can foresee the same thing happening to ZZZ currently, but I'm going to remain painfully optimistic because that Fall Guys Bangbu event was just so damn cute. But we'll see. Wuthering Wave's still looking good, exciting for Anata, Arknights Enfield, other games of the sort. Hoping things are good.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think that Techie, with this vid, with this breakdown, he reflected, I think, the whole condensed thoughts of the entire Honkai Star Rail community. And I know he mentioned something about, like, oh, if you enjoy the game, that's, like, perfectly fine. I'm very happy for you if you enjoy it. But, like, guys, if you are currently enjoying the state of Honkai Star Rail, if you think that Honkai Star Rail is in a good spot, if there are no problems with it at all, I'm gonna be honest, guys. It's like, you're actively making the game worse. If you're telling people that the game's good, that the game's in a good spot, and that there are no changes that need to be made, no balance updates that need to happen, I think you're actively just making the game worse. I'm gonna be honest. I think that you're not giving the game a lot of chances to improve, and I think that you're not highlighting issues that need to be fixed for the game to retain players. I think that not speaking up about where the game is going to kill the game. I genuinely think so. I think if Honkai Star Rail keeps going down the path that it's going on, the game will actually die. Because putting players in a state where they have to sit through lowering, like, honestly, just degrading story, where you actively feel like your time is being wasted, you feel like your money's being wasted because all your characters suck, and you're just defending every single thing that's coming up, it is so bad for the community when you know that so many, like, why am I getting over 150,000 views on a video shitting on the Honkai Star Rail 3.0 story? I am not a Honkai Star Rail creator. That is just how the community feels. They fucking hate the update. And defending it, saying that it's not bad, saying that there aren't problems with it, glazing it. That's where the actual problems are, because the update sucks. It sucks really fucking bad. And defending an update when it's awful is one of the worst things you can do if you actually want the game to get better. Genuinely. W video. Hopefully I provided some additional context over here. And yeah, I think he's reflecting the thoughts of the community at large very, very, very well with this one. So W for Techie too. Peace out.